have to admit, I really like the regular Fiat 500. I love the retro styling, it's retro, done right. Not too over the top, just the right amount. Pretty nice blend between modern and classic. And it's cute. Again, not too over the top, just the right amount. Unlike some new pedals with those hideous eyelashes. And then there's the Abarth version of the 500. There's plenty of people who say that the Abarth 500 is just a Fiat 500 with a couple of steroid injections and that's it. There are people who say that the Abarth 500 is overrated. Well, today I'm trying my best to prove them wrong. I mean, for starters, the cheapest available Abarth has twice the power of the regular one. It's low and it's mean, with a hint of cute at the same time. Who else offers that kind of combo? Here we have a 2010 Abarth 500, which was originally introduced in 2008. It has a 1.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine making 135 horsepower on the crank. We have 5-speed manual transmission. It's the so-called entry-level version of the Abarth 500 because of the weakest engine Abarth offered. And versions there are plenty. Altogether, there's over 10 flavors or versions, however you want to categorize them. Here goes. The regular Abarth, Abarth 500 SSA, SSA Coney, 595, 595 Turismo, 595 Competizione, Elaborazione 595, 695, 695 Tributo Ferrari, 695 Edizione Maserati, 695 Furisiere, 695 Brembo Coney, 695 Biposto, 695 Brivola. Oh boy! And then there's even more. Some next level track oriented versions. Assetto Corse, 695 Assetto Corse, 695 Assetto Corse Evoluzione, Rally R3T. Wow! I'm pretty sure that I missed some. You can let me know in the comments below. All of the Abarths are based on a 1.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine with 4 valves per cylinder. Different versions come with different power rating ranging from 135 to 215 horsepower. There's 5 types of transmissions available: a 5-speed manual, 5-speed dogleg, 6-speed manual, 6-speed sequential and a 5-speed automatic. So, what really separates the regular 500 and the Abarth? Is it only some beefed up styling, some decals here and there, and just a turbocharger on a tiny engine? Well, quite a lot, to say at least. First off, the lowered sports suspension, anti-roll bars in front and rear, upgraded braking system, sports seats, upgraded steering with a smaller steering wheel, upgraded exhaust system with double outlets, upgraded aero, and the most important, boost gauge. In a nutshell, that's pretty much it. And that's quite a lot if you ask me. The regular 500 is known for its rather friendly pricing. Is that the case with the Abarth models as well? Since the car I got my hands on is from 2010, we'll be looking at the pricing from the same year. Back then, prices started from 11,200 euros. That meant you had to deal with a 1.2 liter 4-cylinder base engine producing 69 horsepower. I can imagine that the only fun you could extract from this engine was saying to your homeboys that your Fiat has 69 ponies. Since I'd really like to play a fair game here, I'm choosing a 1.4 liter regular 500 to compare the Abarth to, since they share the same engine block. There are also different trims or packages on the 500. Again, for the fairness sake, I chose the sports trim, which was practically the highest trim back then. There was also a special trim available which was 2,000 euros more expensive. Since it was limited, I decided to stick with the sports trim instead. After crunching the price lists and inserting to the spreadsheets, the truth was out. It turns out that the Abarth is a deal of the century. Base price for the Abarth, 18,500 euros. equivalent 500 with 1.4 liter engine and a sports trim attached starts at 15,200 euros. That's about 3,300 euros difference. But here's the catch. Base Abarth has considerably better equipment as standard. That means that you have to pay plenty of extra for the regular 500 to get the same options. For instance, you have to pay 350 euros for an ESP and traction control. Those are pretty basic options these days. Then there's Xenon or HID headlights, which are a whopping 700 euros extra. Automatic AC is 300 euros. And then there are some smaller, cheaper things, like leather care knob and preparation for the GPS. All of those come as standard on the Abarth. Oh, and by the way, Smoker's package is free for the Abarth buyers. On the regular 500, it's 50 euros extra. Oh, the Italians and their priorities. When you lose to a Mini Cooper S on a track day, you still can blow some smoke on the driver. So, in the end, the regular 500 1.4 Sport with similar options will cost you around 17,000 euros. That's just about 1,400 euros difference. I suppose now it's only appropriate to talk a little bit about this particular Abarth. This one has plenty of optional extras also. First off, the color scheme. It's just perfect. Subtle, yet not too under the radar thanks to the two-color Picolora paint scheme. And the Picolora Abarths are rare. There are not too many around on classifieds, at least in Europe. As new, the Picolora option would have cost you around additional 800 euros. Enough about the color scheme. Onwards with the options. This one also has upgraded automatic climate system, auto-dimming rear view mirror, 17-inch exclusive Abarth only wheels, upgraded leather seats, 50-50 split folding rear seats, Abarth decals and some graphics above the side skirts. Pretty cool option is a removable GPS unit. Initially, I thought it was aftermarket, but it turns out to be a legit optional extra. When you start the car, it shows an Abarth logo. I really liked it because of the GPS-based speedometer. The removal process is a breeze. Just push a couple of buttons behind the unit and it comes straight out of the dashboard. And that's it for this car. These were all of the optional extras, picked by the original owner. Back in 2010, that exact car would have cost around 22,000 euros, including about 3,500 euros for the extras. Did the first owner miss any? I guess not. The options list on the Abarths isn't that long anyways. There were two types of glass roofs available, the fixed one and the motorized one. Then there was an upgraded Interscope sound system and even more sportier doubled racing seats. Rest of the options were all about styling and colors. To the driving bit. I really expected the ride quality of this car to be the worst. Who can blame me for this prejudice? It's low and loud and tiny. Perfect recipe for bad ride quality. It has to be harsh to drive. I still remember when I drove the Mini Cooper S about 10 years ago, and it had a really harsh ride. But this Abarth, it's actually quite comfortable. I mean, you have to look out for the potholes, but other than that, it's really well dampened. Same goes with the seats. Just the right amount of support and padding on them. Overall ride is way more comfortable than some regular sedans like Alfa Romeo 159 or the first generation Mazda 6, for example. What I found rather odd was the height of the seat. Again, low car, so the seating position must be low as well? Totally wrong. You sit on it rather than in it. That will lose some boy racer points in my book, but still, that position works perfectly in a city environment. Tender steering. First off, I love the fact that it's variable. When parking, it's pleasantly light. When driving faster, it just feels right. It's strange that the variable power steering isn't stated in any of the spec sheets. They took it for granted, I suppose. Otherwise, the Abarth is really zippy and confidence-inspiring. Go-kart vibes. Although I have never driven a go-kart. Go figure. As a city car, it's just perfect. I'm really struggling to find any flaws in this car. The 500 is a great platform. It was introduced back in 2007. That's ages ago. The original iPhone was introduced at the same year, and it has been obsolete for years now. The 500 is far from obsolete. It had a facelift a couple of years ago, and it's still going strong. Just a brilliantly engineered little thing. Yes, it's still an Italian, but while in working condition, it's just remarkable. I love the instrument cluster, which they have changed up a bit for the newer models. The Abarth only boost gauge with upshift indicator is also a cool touch, although while mooning around there's no time to stare at it. And the sound. This is hands down one of the best sounding four-bangers out here. On the downside, well, as a rookie, I found only a couple of real flaws. I mean, yes, there's no room in the rear seats, and the fuel tank is tiny, but it's just a tiny car overall, so I wouldn't call them real flaws. You get what you pay for. What I really didn't like was the gear shift action. It felt a bit disconnected, and the throws were too long. Maybe a short shifter would fix that problem. It wasn't unbearable, but for a car with that level of fun factor, this has to be the one and only major downside for the Abarth, in my opinion. Especially changing to the 5th gear, it didn't feel right. Overall, if you're at the market for a small hot hatch, the Abarth version of the 500 is a really strong competitor to the Mini Cooper S. Abarth has way more versions, and the aftermarket community seems strong and supportive. In the end, it's just a matter of styling, I suppose. I really have to revisit a Cooper S to make up my final opinion.